Hey y'all, I'm back with the Project Life Process video, and this is week 18 and 19. And I'm starting off with some of my photos and then a few cards from my stash. I'm going to cut some photos down to size. I don't know at this point if I'm going to use all of these photos, but I'm going to cut them down just to see if I can mat some of those onto some of the cards that I've already pulled. So when I print my photos, a lot of times I will print side by side, and I use the pick frame app to do that, and then I will send it to my Canon, wait, do I have a Canon printer? Yeah, a Canon MG7720 or something like that. Anyway, I'll send them there, and then they'll print pretty almost perfect 3x4 pictures whenever you use that pick frame app. So I'm looking through my cards. A lot of these cards are Ali Edwards, the ones that I'm flipping through. Some of them are like print and cut Studio Calico ones. Some of them are Hip Kit Club cards as well. And I do fiddle with these cards and placement and all of that a lot. Right now it seems like this is what I'm going with, but I do change it up quite a bit, and you'll see as we go. So right now I know that I want to use this card as my title card, but I know that stamping right on top of that card is probably not going to show up very well. And so I pulled a wood grain piece of paper, and this is actually from the Oasis collection. It's just in my scrap pile. And I'm going to use the Studio Calico stamp and stamp out week. And then I'm also going to stamp 18 and 19. And then what I'm going to do, I'm trying to remember if those numbers came in that same set. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, they did. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a space in between 18 and 19 so that I can add a little something. And at this point I'm thinking I want like an ampersand. And the reason I combined these weeks, I think if I can remember correctly, I want to say there were only like 1 or 2 photos from week 19, and then there were tons from week 18. So that's why I combined the weeks. So now I want to make this into a tag, and it's pretty simple. All you do is just cut a rectangular shape and then cut off 2 of the corners, the top corners, and then punch a hole, which I'm trying to find my hole puncher. It's just a standard hole puncher, and then I'm going to find a reinforcement label, and at this point I found one, but it was a little too big, so I'm going to pull the reinforcement labels like that you get, like the Avery brand or whatever that you get at like Staples or Office Depot, and I'm going to use that. So right now that's why you see my arm, because I'm looking for those. I did find some. I'm going to add 2 because those are pretty, they're not super transparent, but they're not like heavy duty quality, and so I added 2 just so I could get a little bit more of a stark white look. So that's my title card for the most part finished. And then at this point I'm not really sure if I want to use that yellow card. I think that's an LA Studio card that has 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just not sure about it just yet. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to move on to some of my other photos. I'm going to go back to looking through my cards because I guess when I matted that photo onto the blue card, I had an extra space, and so just looking through some of my collections. This is a Studio Calico set. Looking through that, still looking through some of my cards, and I just haven't really found something that is going to work for what I'm going for. So at this point, I really like that Ali Edwards card. I can't remember where that came from. It might have been the Details or Lost and Found story kit, but I can't remember 100%. So I cut it in half, and I am going to use that card. And at this point I'm looking through some of my Ali Edwards from just different kits, looking through some of those embellishments, and I did pull a chipboard piece that's a triangular shape. And now I'm looking at the clocks, and that was interesting because I was trying to figure out exactly what time each of those were. And so I was trying to find one that represented bedtime, and I did end up finding one. Looking through those cards again, because I think at this point I want a little bit more pink in the cards, and so I decided that I wanted this card, but I was going to cover up the saying, and then I realized that I used that clock there at the bottom, but I needed to cut off the bottom. So I am going to go back to those clock stickers, and I'm going to pull the same one, and just because there's doubles of those. So I had a little bit of excess hanging off, so I cut that off. And then there I go with my clock sticker. And I've pre-typed my journaling onto my computer, and then I just printed it off onto cardstock. It's just an 80-pound cardstock. You definitely don't have to use cardstock if you don't want to. I like it because I like to stamp on it, and so I think I get good impressions whenever I use the 80-pound cardstock by Nina cardstock, and it's in Solar White. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to place that on the top of this card with the photo of my daughter and my husband. I'll also use that other chipboard piece. It's got a saying about details and stories that came in the detail story kit. Looking through some of my other stamp sets, and you guys are getting the full effect of how I think and you know, what the process is like. Didn't really cut much out of this one. It is like a 9 or 10 minute video, so with like, and that's sped up 4 times speed. And normally it does not take me that long. I think I had a lot going on in this week, and I wanted to use a bunch of different elements, which I'm totally fine with. I had a lot of fun creating this one, so I definitely do not regret pulling stamps and all kinds of embellishments and different cards and that kind of thing. So I cut my journaling into strips here, and they're not perfect, but that's totally okay with me. I stuck them right in the middle of the photo. A lot of times I do that when the photo is like, if it's, let me see if I can explain this well. So when there's not, I'm not going to necessarily like cover up faces, and you can tell what's going on in the photo without having to like see the entire thing. I really like to put stuff in the middle of those photos. I stamped Eat from the Story Stamp Kit several months ago by Ellie Edwards, and I've stamped that on a picture of my husband showing me his like first peppers of the season back, I guess probably in the springtime or maybe the beginning of summer. I can't really remember. And now I'm just looking through my embellishments. This is just like one little tin that I have that has some softer tones like pinks and mint colors and things like that. And so I did find just a little scrap piece, and I added that right on top of that saying, just because I didn't really need, like that saying really wasn't going to work for me. And so I added also a floral piece right on top of that from the Turn the Page. I think it's from the Turn the Page collection by Paige Evans. Also, what you didn't see is me add a chipboard piece to the middle of that other card that I pulled earlier by Ellie Edwards, and that is from the Fun Story Kit. Now I'm going to make my own card. Not really sure why I thought to do this. I think I was looking for something in particular and couldn't find it, so I decided to pull this stamp from the Details Story Stamp Kit, and I just decided to stamp the entire background and story details. So that's what I did. And I added a little tag from the Turn the Page ephemera pack. We got those in the Hip Kit Club, by the way. And so I'm using that. That's from a couple months ago. Added a little puffy heart underneath the word Eat on the photo with my husband and the peppers. Now I'm pulling out the Details stamp from the Details Story Stamp Kit from a couple months ago by Ellie Edwards, and I'm typing that or stamping that out, and then I'm going to write out my journaling here. That pretty much almost sums up this page. I think maybe I add one more thing on top of the tag there at the top, but that's pretty much it. I had a good time filming this and putting this together. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what your favorite part is about this spread down in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.